Right. Right. Good afternoon, everyone, and I will now call the reconvening public hearing of Thursday, December 11th, 2025 to order. This meeting is being held in person and by electronic means. Council members and the public may participate by either method. Any members joining electronically are reminded to enable video to confirm quorum. The meeting is being live streamed on the city's website and YouTube, and meeting progress will be updated regularly on X at Van City Clerk. In the case of an emergency requiring the evacuation of this chamber here, there are two exits located beyond the glass doors and to the left. If the glass doors are blocked, please use one of the four additional exits right here in the chamber. Do not use the elevator, use the stairs instead. If you require accessibility assistance, please remain in your spot, and one of our very kind and fun security team members will help you to a safe location. Also, I do want to note that there is a defibrillator available at the end of the hallway just outside of this council chamber. I do want to acknowledge that we're hosting today's reconvening of the public hearing on the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh First Nations, and I do want to thank them for their generosity and their hospitality and the loving care they show this great land that we get to live, work, and play on. I also want to acknowledge and thank our team members who work throughout the city of Vancouver for everything they do, to make our city, a great place to live, work, and play. And so with that, can we please have a roll call?
Mayor Sim in the chair, Councillor Maloney. Councillor Kirby-Young, present. Councillor Dominato. Councillor Bly is on a leave of absence for civic business all day. Councillor Orr. Councillor Fry. Councillor Montague.
Present.
Councillor Klassen. Councillor Meisner.
Present.
And Councillor Joe. This meeting has quorum, Mayor Sim.
Great, thank you very much. Before we begin, I just want to make a few announcements. The public may speak in person or by phone and may submit written comments to Mayor and Council. Speakers may only speak once and will have up to 5 minutes to comment on the merits of the application, unless the speaker requires and provides a translator, in which case they can speak once for 10 minutes. Please state whether you support or oppose the recommendations and if you are a resident of Vancouver. Those representing 4 or more individuals or groups, including themselves, may speak for up to 8 minutes. Each person being represented must confirm their presence in person or by phone and may not speak separately. Please follow the live stream or at Van City Clerk on X to track meeting progress and know when your turn to speak is approaching. Please note the live stream has a slight delay. Written comments can be submitted through the Mayor and Council public hearing feedback form linked on X. If you pre-registered with a presentation, say next to have the clerk advance your slides. The procedure bylaw prohibits council members from the use of words, tone, or gestures that express negative views of individuals or groups. Members of the public are expected to not engage in improper conduct, which includes hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory language. Council members raise a point of order if language is not respectful. As chair, I may ask speakers to adjust their remarks accordingly. A reminder, at public hearings, council acts as a quasi-judicial body and must focus solely on the merits of the rezoning or heritage application. Members may ask clarifying questions of staff or speakers, including the applicant, but should reserve debate until after the speakers list has closed. So, after hearing from speakers, council may 1, approve the application in principle, 2, approve the application in principle with amendments, 3, refuse the application, or 4, refer the application to staff for further consideration. Finally, if all speakers are not heard this evening, the public hearing will recess and reconvene at a later date. So the topic we're talking about is item number 1, the Downtown Eastside Housing Implementation Amendments to the FC-1 District in the Zoning and Development Bylaw and the Downtown Eastside Oppenheimer District Official Development Plan, or DEOD ODP. bylaw to accelerate SRO replacement and increase social housing. At the public hearing on December the 9th, 2025, council heard a presentation, asked questions to our team members and the applicant, and heard the first 40 speakers. Council subsequently recessed and will now continue hearing from speakers. Speakers will have up to 5 minutes to make their comments and should limit their comments to the merits of the report being considered, unless the speaker requires and provides a translator, in which case they can speak once for 10 minutes. Actually, we've already gone through that. So our first speaker is speaker number 41, Nicole Spencer. Is Nicole present? Is Nicole on the line?
The staff are just checking the lines right now. Speaker 41 is not on the line.
Okay, speaker number 42, Laverne Kelly.
Not on the line.
Oh, I think Laverne's right here. Oh, here. There you go, Laverne. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Laverne Kelly. I've lived in the downtown east side for 5 years, and I've worked in the downtown east side for 8. I'm speaking today in opposition to this motion. As a member of the Carnegie Housing Project, I'm very concerned about the lack of safe, affordable, and social housing for low-income residents in the downtown east side. Housing is a human right, and I'm here to speak for community members who are too often unheard. If this motion passes, it will cause real harm. Today, about 2,000 people in the downtown east side are homeless with no fixed address, and thousands more are living in precarious housing. If this plan moves forward as written, where are they supposed to go? Where will they live? It will deepen a crisis that is already costing lives. The 2024 This Isn't Working report by the Carnegie Housing Project highlights that downtown east side groups have been offering clear recommendations for decades. The Red Woman Rising report includes 135 recommendations that were not acted on. Carnegie Action Project released 9 years of reports with recommendations that also went unimplemented. Now the situation is more urgent than ever, and many organizations are ready to work with the city. I'm asking Council to refer this plan back to staff with directions to work directly with low-income residents, urban Indigenous communities, Japanese Canadian, Chinese Canadian, Black communities, advocacy groups, and senior levels of government. We need a plan that strengthens community building initiatives and addresses the severe shortage of shelter rate housing. I also urge Council to require a full social impact assessment before any further decisions are made. Thank you for your time.
Great. Thank you very much, Laverne. Speaker number 43, John Sanders.
Hi, you all. Oh, sorry. Okay, well, for starters, my name is John, and I currently reside at the Cobalt Hotel, and I oppose the bylaw to begin with. And my building is already up for redevelopment, so it's just a matter of time with the St. Paul's Hospital right across the road from us, and probably the pressure on everybody else to redevelop at about the same time. I'd just like to know when. I just don't like that uncertainty of it all. But that being said, also, there are things you control, and there's something out of our control. Out of our control is the time it takes to build a building. And what are we talking about? 2 years to put a building up? That's if the shovel is in the ground. But what you people control, zoning, rezoning, etc., appeasing the developers to get them nice incentives, that's in your hands. But I don't see any action. I don't see a shovel in the ground. All I see is delay. I fully understand that it's unrealistic for you to do it alone as a city. You need provincial funding, maybe federal funding, and the developers, a combination of all the above. Because, I mean, that, and 4 buildings, I'll just say, to house everybody in my building, that's like ridiculous. I mean, and that's just gonna delay everything and be way more expensive. In the meantime, I've heard that you're all gonna relocate us as the building is torn down. Mr. Sim has basically a freezing spend. No more spending. So is it in your budget to pay us all $1,000 a month or $1,500 a month? And for how long? And where are we going to go? I mean, pretty unrealistic, I think. And basically, what we need is, I don't want to hear the word supportive housing again. I'll scream if I hear that. And I know you're against it too. But basically, we need a roof over our head. A new build roof over our head is all people I know are asking for. That's it. And basically, we're running out of time. Literally, every day that passes is one step closer to us being out on the street. And you're going to have more street disorder too, by the way. Once we're out, Vancouver police calls, Vancouver fire and rescue calls. Everybody's going to be scattered out, several thousand people scattered out. I hope you plan for that. It's a gong show now. It's going to be more of a gong show if we're all out on the street. I guarantee that. And to sum it up, in a very wise city councilor here by the name of Sarah Kirby Young. Oh, hi. And she says, to use her words, maximum possible time reductions in order to ensure projects are shovel ready. I'll say it again. Maximum possible time reductions in order to ensure projects are shovel ready. So that's like about it. My time is almost up, and quite literally, our time is almost up. It's inevitable. That could be next year. That could be, but why the wait? Why not just make a deal, get the shovels in the ground, and get the process moving? Yeah, thank you.
John, thank you very much. Speaker number 44, Cyril Barrett.
Hi, Mr. Mayor, Councillor. I live at the Cobalt Hotel. I've lived in Vancouver for like 30 years. I've seen a lot of changes. I've lived in downtown for 7 or 8 years, I guess. I volunteer with the SROC committee and with the Twirl program, helping with maintenance in the building. And our building basically is about 50% old age citizens, mental health issues, old people who really got nowhere else to go. And if you They're not gonna go out on the street. You can't put them out. There's nowhere to go with them. If we don't all leave together, well, I can't see anybody really leaving because you just have to physically carry them out because they're too old to leave and go anywhere else, basically. And, you guys are saying you want to build all these buildings, but, it takes 2 and 3 years. There's no cranes. There's 200 cranes up in the city now. It's like a 5-year wait to get a crane, 3 to 5-year wait to get a crane. You're talking about building 30 or 40, 50 buildings to house these people. Like, where's the time frame in this for these people? Like, we know for a fact you shut down these hotels within the first year. We're losing 20% of these buildings are dying. It just happened with the Kiefer building. 20% of the people that was in the fire, displaced by a fire 2 years ago, are dead. So if you're going to take people out of these buildings, you're going to have to put them somewhere together in their community. We're really community based down there, especially since this fentanyl crisis and the COVID crisis and everything else down here now. And it's not going to work. We're going to fight you every inch of the way, sir. That's all I can say about it. So that's all I really got to say. So thank you for your time.
Great, Cheryl, thank you very much for coming in. Speaker number 45, Dee Perkins.
Hi, councillors, Mayor. My name is Dee. I live at the Cobalt also. Nice to talk to you today. Most people in my building keep their own spaces, and you do keep busy trying to get stuff done, trying to find stuff to eat, trying to get 100 people into 2 showers on each floor. There's a lot of old and retired people in our building who we want to have more community ownership in the neighborhood. For these people, provide condos, sorry. Community ownership has worked in Toronto with the MLRA. Community ownership can work here. We just need the people to sit down and put the time into it. We're doing work in the community right now. What are the condo owners doing? They're trying to make money, and they don't care about the people that are living and dying on our streets at all. Right now, there are many empty condos, and you don't see anybody living in them. Doesn't seem like anybody is particularly looking to buy or rent a condo right now. So why are people talking about building them? I think that we need to put it into the street, and we're not leaving the neighborhood. People living in the DTs have been living here for 10 years or more, in my building at least. And in the Ramble plan, they asked to have landlords to have their buildings at 80% full before their tenants to redevelop. If we don't do that here, tenants will start evicting tenants, so we don't have to pay for relocation. If we don't change this, then people will be homeless. Please change this. We can have community ownership, and we can have people living there. And if you can't fund this, at least change what we're doing today. Thank you, and thank you for listening to me.
Great, thank you for coming in, Dee. Speaker number 46, Rochelle Gibbon. In the hallway. Is Rochelle here? Okay, speaker number 47, Lola Hirsch.
Hello?
Please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Lola Hirsch. I'm a graduate student at UBC's School of Community and Regional Planning. I'm an East Van resident, and I am here to state my firm opposition to this rezoning plan. This plan will open up the downtown east side to real estate speculation, allowing up to 32-story towers, reducing social housing requirements and the overall proportion of affordable housing in this neighborhood. We know the downtown east side is an incredibly special and precious community. It's one of the few neighborhoods in a city that consistently ranks among the most expensive in the world. Where low-income residents continue to find belonging, safety, and a sense of community. It's a resource-rich neighborhood where Indigenous folks, disabled folks, and people who use drugs can access supportive services and social networks in a city that is often hostile to them. And as we know, it's been far from the first time the Downtown East Side has been targeted for redevelopment. This neighborhood carries a strong collective memory of repeated cycles of trauma, displacement, and attempted erasure. It began with the violent dispossession of Indigenous peoples from their land. It continued with Japanese internment policies forcibly displacing Japanese Canadians from the vibrant Japantown community of Paraguay. Then the Chinese head tax ruptured Vancouver's Chinatown community. And finally, Hogan's Alley was a thriving hub for Black Vancouverites until the city destroyed the community through the construction of the Georgia Viaduct. Across these histories, we can see a clear pattern. Communities at the margin of society are demonized, and attempts at erasure are passed off by city planners as urban renewal projects. Today, the stigma that pathologizes Downtown East Side residents as other, as a place that should be cleared for towers, echoes the same harmful narratives that fueled these racist and exclusionary policies in the past. My mentor and professor, Kuni Kamazaki, has conducted extensive research showing that the Downtown East Side Oppenheimer District special zoning area, won through years of advocacy and community leadership, works. His research shows that the current zoning keeps land values low. It has enabled the city's targets for social housing to be surpassed, and it effectively slows the construction of market rentals and condos in this area. Policies that perpetuate stigma and harm will not fix the underlying causes of poverty or the toxic drug crisis. It will instead lead to more visible homelessness. Instead of assuming that poverty can be made invisible through punitive policing and diluted through an influx of middle and upper income residents, we must instead address the root causes. I'm calling for more shelter rate housing, more social and non-market housing, community-led SRO replacement through funding the Downtown East Side Community Land Trust, an end to the austerity cuts to vital social services and nonprofit funding, the urgent implementation of evidence-based healthcare, a halt to involuntary care practices, and I'm calling for safe supply now. We must meet the needs of the current Downtown East Side residents, not the unrealized profits of greedy developers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lola. Speaker number 48, Holly Omaka. Holly here? Okay. Speaker number 49, Stephen Raitt. Is Stephen here?
Speaker number 49 is not on the line.
Okay. Speaker number 50, Emma Ashby.
My name is Emma Ashby. I'm a Vancouver resident, and I'm speaking today to oppose the uplifting Downtown East Side motion. This motion will displace even more people in the Downtown East Side. In a time where there is a housing and affordability crisis, we need more shelter rate and deeply affordable housing, not less. This motion doesn't address where tenants who get displaced from redevelopment will go. I can't even begin to consider how stressful it must be to know that you could get forced out of your home for redevelopment at any time. With no plan in place to relocate the sheer number of people who will be displaced, this is going to translate to more people becoming homeless and being forced into precarious housing. Moving is an expense that so many people can't afford right now. As a fellow Vancouverite, I don't want to see my neighbors get forced out of their homes. If you pass this motion, people will die. This is unpopular for both residents and developers for good reason. Council should be listening to the people who will be directly impacted by this and work with them, not against them. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Speaker number 51, Nate Stanley.
Good evening there, Mayor and Council, or good afternoon. My name is Nate Stanley, a concerned resident of the City of Vancouver, and I'm calling in today in opposition to this plan and the changes. I'm opposed to these changes because I do not think the City of Vancouver will be able to build enough social and supportive housing to replace the already existing supportive and social housing that already exists when it's demolished as a result of this plan. So in the session on Tuesday, city staff in their presentation stated that over 10,000 units of non-market housing is needed to fulfill the housing needs for downtown East Side residents. That is a lot of units that the City of Vancouver will need to build this to solve this problem. But I also understand that this is not only a City of Vancouver problem, and the province and federal participation in building that non-market housing is critical. I'm really particularly concerned right now that that federal funding that we need to build and maintain this supportive social housing has been cut and is not going to be available in the ways we think it will be. On Tuesday, I believe it was Councillor Dominato expressed interest in the City of Vancouver taking advantage of the new federal spending on housing in Vancouver, in particular the Build Canada Homes program. In principle, I agree. It would be immensely beneficial to Vancouver to take advantage of any federal program that promises to help get housing built. The only problem I have with that right now is the Liberal government in Ottawa just passed a budget that cuts that spending on affordable housing across Canada in half. As for Build Canada Homes, according to the Parliamentary Budget Office, the program has no targets and no mandate to build housing for Canadians who make less than half the median income, and targets only 20% of units to be affordable for households that make above that income. Again, half of the Canadian median income. Now, for the residents of the downtown East Side Oppenheimer district, they are our most vulnerable residents of this city, and I'm assuming many of them do not make that median Canadian income or half of it. So they rely on that market rate or slightly below market rate housing, and it's out of reach for them, or they rely on the social and shelter rate housing, and the market rate housing is out of reach for them. This is why we explicitly ensure the shelter rate housing is no more than $500 a month for individuals, as it's the only housing within their reach. My issue here is I worry that a lot of the federal funding does not target the housing that will be demolished in the downtown East Side. When this motion gets passed, we're going to destroy housing that we cannot replace, and I stand in opposition to this motion as a result. In conclusion, I urge the City Council to vote against these changes to the downtown East Side Oppenheimer district. It will displace our most vulnerable residents, it will demolish much of our social and supportive housing, and it will not result in the abundance of affordable housing that the city so desperately needs. Thanks for listening to me and the hundreds of other concerned Vancouverites about this motion. Bye.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 52, Alexandra Fisicki.
Speaker 52 is not on the line.
Speaker number 53, Lucy Rosensteel.
No, not on the line.
Speaker number 54, Vincent Xie.
Not on the line.
Speaker number 55, Yao Xiao. Oh, sorry, hold on. Are you Vincent? Sorry, you're Yao?
Yes.
Great, thank you, Yao.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Sorry, Yao, we'll, don't start the timer yet, please. It's just, are you a resident of Vancouver?
I'm working in Vancouver at UBC. Not living in Vancouver.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Yao. I'm a professor in social justice and education at UBC. Today, I'm here to voice firm opposition to the proposed policy changes in the Downtown East Side Housing Implementation Plan, and to call for serious reflection and reconsideration on the kinds of equitable and livable future we want. As someone who has spent time in Downtown East Side neighborhood connecting with friends through cross-cultural activities, working with residents and seniors in the neighborhood to help them access essential services, learning about community heritage in various Chinese benevolent societies and buildings, witnessing the process of physical and cultural displacement in the Downtown East Side neighborhood, where more than 2,000 people, as previous speaker has pointed out, experiencing homelessness. I have many thoughts to share today, but because these are people's lives, dignity, and communities, and I have 3 points to make. Firstly, The change is more than drawing new maps and using new terms. It threatens the lives of marginalized communities and their affordability, accessibility, and safety. The changes reduce the proportion of social housing units in new developments to as little as 20% and shelter rate units as little as 4% of the total. At the same time, it allows more expensive private-led development and increasingly allowing building heights and density up to 32 stories. On paper, these changes may be framed as improving so-called economic viability and flexibility, but in reality, this will mean fewer truly affordable homes for the low-income and lowest-income people, precisely the people who most rely on them. Given Vancouver's existing affordable crisis, this proposed change is a threat to making of a truly inclusive neighborhood and its fundamental shift that excludes marginalized communities. We all know the reality and foreseeable negative impacts. Many individuals and families who depend on income assistance will be priced out. Long-standing connections developed through shared space and low barriers community events will become so much harder to maintain in the neighborhood. Secondly, in the city's previous engagement with the stakeholders earlier this year, many people have already voiced their deep concerns and oppositions. Here I quote a paragraph from the city's own referral report on page 21, dated October 22nd, 2025. Quote, feedback from the public and committee members in the downtown east side was mostly critical of the proposed policy changes. Many fear the proposed changes will result in gentrification and displacement of current residents. Of particular concern was the reduction of shelter rate units required for social housing projects. Participants expressed a mistrust of private development and called instead for increased senior government funding and nonprofit housing solutions across the city, end quote. Worse still, under the guise of so-called mixed-use development or mixed-income community, we'll see a creeping process of gentrification. So-called term mixing will give way to displacement, cultural erasure, and loss of accessible housing for those who need it the most. Third, please take justice and equity seriously in planning and policy making and in action. We all know this is not just about technical details or rezoning or maps or building heights. It's about justice too. How do we protect the rights of low-income and vulnerable people to have a secure, affordable home? It's about equity. How do we ensure that redevelopment does not only benefit those who can pay? I ask you, when we talk about terms like revitalization, housing supply, development viability, who are we prioritizing? When we talk about density and new housing, whose voices are heard, who has a seat at the table? Is Vancouver going to be a city that pushes out the most vulnerable and fragile among us in favor of private profit and speculative development? Or do we still believe in the value of shared community, social responsibility, and solidarity? Please do not treat downtown East Side neighborhood as a zone to be optimized for so-called optimized for market returns or speculative developments. Please treat it as a living community with people, histories, and cultural relations. I call on the City Council to reject the current proposed changes. As fellow human beings, please do not sacrifice humanity for the so-called development viability. I recall how some seniors in the neighborhood have taught me a Chinese saying about caring, 是中送炭,雪中送炭. To care for people, they said, is to offer charcoal in the snowy season, to give warmth in the coldest moments, to support someone when they need it most. In that spirit, please plan and create neighborhoods that provide care to those who need it the most. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, speaker number 56, Anna Dobelli.
Hi, Mayor and Council. My name is Anna Dobelli. I'm a longtime resident of Vancouver. I'm a housing researcher at UBC, and I've worked in the Downtown East Side for 7 years. I strongly oppose the Downtown East Side Housing Implementation Plan. In the last 7 years, I've had the immense privilege to work with hundreds of Downtown East Side tenants about their experiences in the neighborhood. Based on this work and my grounding in housing research, I'm strongly against the relaxation of SRO replacement requirements, because this would embolden slumlords at the expense of SRO tenants, for whom SROs are the last stop before homelessness. Many landlords will do anything and everything within their power to pressure tenants to leave, with nowhere to go but the street. I've talked to so many tenants who've dealt with landlord pressures, including their landlords locking them out, giving eviction notices for no reason, offering buyouts to leave, and purposely making tenants' rooms uninhabitable. This plan does not account for the loopholes of of landlord pressure that will give landlords the power to evict tenants into homelessness. This plan will also break apart SRO communities, disrupting the life-saving networks that currently exist in these buildings, where tenants take care of each other. These tenants look out for each other, cook meals, get groceries, give out water, check in on their neighbors who are sick, do repairs for one another, hand out harm reduction supplies. The tenants that I work with tell me that these buildings are where people who've never had family find their own family. Every single day, they save each other from misery, isolation, overdose, and death. These communities of care are the beating heart of the neighborhood, and any plan that threatens to tear them apart must be rejected. Beyond what I know from my work with tenants, I'm against the relaxation of SRO replacement requirements and the reduction of shelter rate housing requirements because these policies would result in the loss of affordable housing and would increase homelessness. In the context of a housing crisis with over 2,500 people homeless in Vancouver, it is completely unacceptable, irresponsible, and unconscionable to reduce social housing and to accelerate the loss of affordable housing. The academic research is very clear on this and backs up what community members already know. This plan will gentrify the downtown east side, it will increase homelessness, and it will destroy the communities that already exist here. This will have devastating consequences to the lives and well-being of people in the neighborhood, for which this council will be responsible. I've seen people become unmoored, lose their community, and pass away right after becoming homeless. I've seen the tenants who have been evicted had their health deteriorate to the point where I'm not sure if they're still the same person. I've also seen tenants taking care of each other beyond what I could imagine, building up the community that these recommendations would decimate. I refuse to believe that this is anywhere close to the best plan that the city can come up with. There are so many better alternatives that you have the responsibility, the obligation, and the power to pursue. I urge you to work with low-income, urban Indigenous, Japanese Canadian, Chinese Canadian, and Black communities in the downtown east side to explore community-led alternatives. Maintain the current zoning to keep land values stable in the DEOD. Help the community acquire and run buildings. Put every effort into collaborations with senior levels of government to get the province and the feds to fund shelter rate housing. As elected officials, you have an opportunity to oppose this plan and work with the downtown east side communities rather than against us. But you also have a responsibility to support the well-being of your constituents, especially those who are the most targeted. This isn't just about zoning, it's about people's lives. And if you implement the policies in this report, people will continue to be unhoused, they will continue to be evicted, and they will continue to lose their lives to preventable homelessness. We're telling you that you haven't done the work to build our trust, and you do not have the license from us to go forward with this plan that goes against the wishes of the community, flies in the face of academic research, and will worsen the current housing crisis. We're asking you to listen to the residents of the neighborhood, listen to the academic research, listen to your staff's own consultation report that demonstrates a widespread lack of support. If you care at all about the lives of your constituents, about the future of this city, oppose this plan that will gentrify the downtown east side and destroy people's lives, and instead join us in building a plan that will actually work for residents. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 57, Mohammed Rafi Arifin.
Good afternoon, Mayor and councillors. My name is Mohammed Rafi Arifin. I'm a Vancouver resident and a professor at UBC. So I'm here today to read an open letter signed by 240 researchers from universities across our province outlining opposition to this proposed plan. This letter is signed by some of our city and indeed the country's most respected urban scholars. Dear Mayor and Council, we write as a group of academics and researchers with expertise in housing, planning, public policy, and public health to express our opposition to the City of Vancouver's Downtown East Side Housing Implementation Report and the city's plan to redevelop the Downtown East Side, Oppenheimer District, and Thornton Park. The city's current plan to uplift the Downtown East Side will fail to provide affordable housing to those that need it and risks displacing vulnerable tenants and exacerbating homelessness. This report prioritizes market development and drastically reduces social housing in the neighborhood. The plan would reduce the percentage of social housing in new development from 60% to 20%, and would reduce the shelter rate housing provision from 33% to 20%. Overall, this means that only 4% of new units built would be affordable to those on income assistance. Now, in addition, the proposed plan would deregulate existing protections of SROs, which serve as housing of last resort for thousands of residents. Specifically, it relaxes the one-for-one replacement policy and the size requirements for converted SRO units. This creates a heightened risk of displacement for tenants who may be dem-evicted, many of whom would be evicted into homelessness, and ultimately threatens the well-being of residents. In the context of a housing crisis, with over 2,500 people homeless in Vancouver and a continual loss of affordable housing, any plan that limits social housing is unacceptable. Research and consultation clearly shows that more affordable social, non-market, and supportive housing is needed to address the housing crisis, alongside plans to increase the habitability of existing buildings. Now, by reducing the social housing requirements to 4% of new units, this plan flies in the face not only of the academic research, but also neighborhood residents and advocates. Ultimately, in its current form, the city's plan for the DEOD will gentrify rather than uplift the neighborhood. Beyond being unpopular, according to the city's own consultations, the plan will result in a loss of deeply affordable housing and increase the precarity of those most marginalized. So this plan is fundamentally inadequate. It fails to provide affordable housing, worsens existing crises, and threatens the well-being of the neighborhood's current residents. As housing scholars and researchers, we believe this plan is not the solution to the housing crisis in the downtown east side. We oppose this harmful development plan and call for the city to reconsider its current proposal and work towards the creation of a new plan that truly listens to the needs of the community and prioritizes real, affordable housing without displacement. In particular, we call for 1, comprehensive consultation with impacted community members, including the Metro Vancouver Aboriginal Executive Council and the Japanese Canadian community. 2, a report back on conversations between the mayor's office and the provincial and federal housing ministers to find funding for deeply affordable housing. And 3, the development of a plan that actually retains downtown east side assets and creates more shelter rate housing without displacement. That's the end of the letter. Again, this letter was signed by 240 researchers. This letter and its support shows that the housing and urban research community are resoundingly against this plan. We urge you to reject this plan that's not driven by holistic evidence and research, but by the interests of an elite few who will benefit at the expense of the neighborhood's majority. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 58, Mark Ing Shun.
Hello, Council. My name is Mark. This is my first time speaking at Council, so wish me luck. Needless to say, like many of my colleagues and comrades, I'm quite cynical about civic engagement. If we take all of the context of what this ABC Council has done in the downtown east side, it's hard for me to feel excited about what the outcome of this decision will be. For my friends who live in the downtown east side, many of them have experienced like the full brunt of the decision-making of the City of Vancouver, whether it be Task Force Barrage, the pause in supportive housing developments for the City of Vancouver, the increase in police funding. It goes without saying that from my perspective and from the perspective of the folks that could not be here because of these policies and these decisions that have taken their lives, the outcome for many of the residents in the downtown east side through gentrifying it is death. Ultimately, these policies decisions have led to the death of many people that I do care about. And what I want you to consider is whether it be the humanity of the folks who live in the downtown east side or the perspectives of like academics, activists, and people who work in the downtown east side, that the people who live there and the rest of us are also people as well. Right now, the decisions that are being made continue to prioritize profit over human lives. And ultimately, I think that the outcome of this decision will be more continued death. And this framing of the language used around it being as positive for the downtown east side frustrates me. I don't think that hiding behind the language of saying that this will lead to more positive outcomes is truthful. I think it's done in bad faith. And for those who are watching, for those who are speaking in favor or against the motion, specifically for those who are opposing it, I think what's important right now is to watch sort of closely and see the type of actions that are taken by the council and the outcomes that may come of it. I think that I would like to be surprised and see a different outcome emerge from the actions of the council, but like I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation, I'm quite cynical. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in. Speaker number 59, Vanessa Matsubara.
Hi. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Vanessa Matsubara, and I've been living in Vancouver for over 5 years now and have been involved and welcomed into the downtown Eastside community since 2022. And today I'm speaking in opposition to the proposed motion. I currently work in the DEOD, which also encompasses Powell Street area, the historic Japanese-Canadian neighborhood. I myself am Yonsei, which means fourth-generation Japanese-Canadian, and before 1942, I had Japanese-Canadian relatives who lived in the Powell Street area. An example being my great-uncle Tsutomu, who lived at 976 East Pender, with his brother Hisashi and grandparents Kamekichi and Sugi Miyata. Recently, I was able to look at Kamekichi's custodian file and documents relating to his internment. I discovered that he was a janitor at Canada Daily News and had been evacuated in June of 1942, where he was then sent to an internment camp in New Denver, BC. In these files, I also found a claim that his landlady had submitted to the custodian of enemy property only 4 days after his evacuation regarding half a month's missed rent, which was $9. It reads, "Dear Sir, the above-named Japanese was my tenant and removed on the 27th of June. I had a tenant waiting for about 2 months for the place, but of course it was impossible to know the exact date of Mr. Miyata's removal. Mr. Miyata had his rent paid until June 15th and had told me that he would pay the rest when leaving. Just when he did leave, he had no money and advised me that you would be sending a check for the amount, that he either had money or goods with you. This claim was open and unresolved until 1947, when the landlady agreed to drop the claim, considering Kamekichi had died in an internment camp in 1943, and his widow Sugi was already in debt due to his funeral expenses. I use this example from my own family to show that the way landlords and folks in power treat residents of the downtown east side is not new, with little regard to their circumstances, struggles, and humanity. We have heard stories from present-day tenants that reflect and even surpass that of Kamekichi's. The downtown east side is a one-of-a-kind community in this city, and like every other neighborhood, their residents deserve to have their needs met without sacrificing their livelihoods. Displacement is not just having to move. It's having to start a new life while being separated from your home, support system, and any familiarity. Displacement doesn't only impact the individual, but has lasting intergenerational effects on families and descendants, something many Japanese Canadians can attest to. In 2013, the City of Vancouver pledged to do all they can to ensure injustices faced by the Japanese Canadian community during World War II will not happen again to any of its residents. Now, the Japanese Canadian community is telling you that this motion goes against your promise to us. On Tuesday and today, you have heard the value, experiences, and needs of the DEOD community. Folks have told you exactly how this motion will hurt them and have offered up collaboration and alternatives instead. Please listen to them and consider their livelihoods before making a detrimental decision. The hardship you'd be asking a neighborhood to endure should be worth more to you than building developments and profit. Therefore, I'm calling on you to oppose this motion. Thank you for your time.
Great. Thank you very much. Speaker number 60, Melody Ma.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Melody Ma, and I oppose this proposal. Today, I'm going to speak about how this plan will impact Chinatown and Chinese lives in the downtown east side. If you speak to our mothers and grandmothers, aunties and uncles who have walked the street of downtown east side, they will tell you that Chinatown has never had borders. Chinatown and the DEOD are connected socially, culturally, and historically. A walk down Hastings Street makes this clear. You'll see Chinese benevolent societies and SROs like the Toishan Society, the Ma's Benevolent Society, Ing Benevolent Society, Fanglin Tong Society Sit Sito Clan Association, Zhongshan Allied Association, Leung's Benevolent Association, the Asian Canadian Benevolent Association for the Elderly, also known as the Association of Chinese from Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos, and many others. These organizations are part of the cultural life of Chinatown and the downtown east side and have supported generations of low-income Chinese seniors and migrants. Many Chinese seniors live in these SROs, and some are operated by these societies. In the DEOD, you'll also see Chinese businesses and community services such as Ovaltine Cafe, Sunrise Market, Rice World, Primetime Chicken and Chinese Food, Payless Meat, the Chinatown Medical Group Clinic, Garlane Pharmacy, and many more. And you'll see religious institutions like the Lotus Light Buddhist Temple. These organizations provide affordable, culturally appropriate food and health and spiritual support to some of the most marginalized. By upzoning the DOD to 32 stories with mostly market housing, these organizations and spaces, many operating on limited resources, will face intense pressure from speculation, redevelopment, lot consolidation, and increased property taxes. This means displacement, it means closures, it means a slow erasure of these important cultural and community spaces that hold the neighborhood together. If these organizations are pushed out, Chinatown and the downtown east side will lose critical supports for low-income residents, especially Chinese seniors who rely on these culturally accessible services. This plan threatens the very fabric of this neighborhood and community, so I urge you to reject this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 61, Christine Furman. Okay. Speaker number 62, Jenny Wren. Is Jenny Wren? Yeah, sure. Thank you. This is Christine. Okay, thank you. Please go ahead.
I'm a guest, longtime resident of the downtown east side, as well as I work in the community as a cook and work with the AYX bus, giving back to the community. If I don't understand, if you put this bill forward, I'll lose my job, my home. And my community. I don't think the gentrification of the Lower East Side is, I think it's criminal and unacceptable. And thank you. Not to mention what it would do to the Japanese the Chinese, the Black, the Native, and the other communities that were told they wouldn't have to go through this again. I don't believe you should put forth the bill. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in, Christine. Speaker number 62, Jenny Wren.
Hello, my name is Jenny Wren, and I'm a I'm a Vancouver resident. I'm opposed to the rezoning motion. I think by the amount of people who have responded to this, I think you got an uptick. It indicates that there's a lot of concern about the lack of actual change in available low-income housing. Calling it social housing and supportive housing doesn't actually make it supportive or helpful. I'm living in supportive housing and it's not supportive whatsoever. We need to have land available to build our tiny homes because we have very little trust in the government right now to be able to help us with this. And I don't think that having this percentage change is going to actually make a difference. We need to make it all of the buildings, not just the ones that are considered acceptable for people that you don't think are good. We're not bad. A lot of us don't even have criminal records. We have no reason to be treated like this. We deserve regular housing. I lived in a normal house a lot of time, and I've been homeless because there's not been affordable housing. I don't want to live in supportive housing. I want to live in a regular place just like everybody else does. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Please find better solutions faster. It's been a long time and there's not enough change. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in, Jenny. Speaker number 63, Bing Ho.
I'm glad you guys are working on traffic because I'm late. I'm sorry. Thank you. Mayor Sim, councilors, my name is Bing Ho. I was one of the founding partners of a Vancouver law firm that has advised on many major real estate developments in the city. After working 10 years there, I moved to Asia in 2000 to manage a major office of what was then the world's largest global law firm. More relevantly, I'm proud to say that I lived in poverty to the first 16 years of my life in an SRO on the edges of Chinatown in Edmonton and survived. After retiring and returning to Vancouver in 2015, I became very involved with downtown Eastside housing issues. I applaud the work done in the report under consideration. I believe I should have given much more consideration to 3 topics: community, change, and collaboration. Not having much, but needing a lot, my family and our SRO neighbors supported one another in ways that transformed a decrepit, dilapidated building into a living, loving community. And that is why I was drawn to the wonderful work of the SRO Collaborative, an amazing organization dedicated not to just throwing up buildings, but to creating real homes. When you hear from SRO Collaborative workers and tenants, I urge you to listen with open hearts and open minds and reconsider aspects of the zoning that will jeopardize the tight-knit communities that have taken years and years to build. I hope that you will remove the SROs from the density policy. I hope you will establish and enforce policies for ensuring that when tenants are forced to move, their communities will be kept intact. That you will prioritize the creation of desperately needed social housing for the low-income DOD residents who have scant options elsewhere, and that you would deprioritize the creation of market housing for higher income non-DOD residents who have many options outside the DOD. changes. Changes are clearly needed, but change just for the sake of change is counterproductive and harmful. According to UBC Professor Kamazaki's research, current zoning, which requires at least 60% social housing in new developments, has kept average assessed land values in the DOD around 1.5 million in the rest of the DTS, and resulted in 2,250 non-marketing housing units built or underway, double the number in the rest of the downtown east side. The social housing units actually exceed original projections, but a huge shortfall remains. Staff say that more than 10,000 new units of shelter-rate housing must be built to replace dilapidated SROs and house the homeless. Common sense and experience tell us that typical property owners will hold out for the higher prices that for-profit developers of 32-story towers will be able and willing to pay for their property. Contrary to the report's unconvincing economic analysis, the inevitable price escalation will make it impossible for nonprofit developers to compete. Current zoning purposefully and successfully kept land prices low enough to enable nonprofits to build substantial amounts of low-cost housing. Why change now? Or as Ronald Reagan famously said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Collaboration. I understand the SRO Collaborative presented an alternative SRO replacement proposal to some city councilors that elicited positive and open-minded interest. In contrast to the 32 towers of concrete boxes the report envisaged, the proposal calls for 12-story buildings to build in short order on 25-foot lots using mass timber and innovative modular technologies that will be stewarded and cared for by tenants supporting each other in life-giving communities. My request. I respectfully ask Council to postpone passage of the rezoning plan and give more time for the city, provincial, and federal governments and officials to gain a much deeper understanding of the rezoning's impact and the community's needs and hopes than was reflected in the report. I request that you undertake serious evaluations of the 25-footer proposal. I request that you collaborate more closely, that the governments collaborate more closely with each other, industry, nonprofit providers, and affected community groups. And Mayor Sim, I would like to make a special request of you, if I may. I don't know your relationship with former mayors, Campbell or Robertson. You can't help thinking that having all of you on the same housing stage at the same time at this very critical moment represents a unique and historic opportunity. When the three tenors started singing together, they made a big splash around the world. If you three mayors start working together to solve the housing crisis, you will make a big splash right here in our great city. Gain the gratitude of all Vancouverites.
I apologize. You're well over time.
And you're going to sell a lot of cool posters. And I have one I could show you.
Sorry, we have so many speakers.
Yeah, you'll love it.
I would love for you to come in.
I promise you, you'll love it.
Yeah. While I'm talking through it, okay. Okay. So we have speaker number. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Bing. And I remember your story from the last time you came and spoke here as well. So thank you very much. Speaker number 64 has withdrawn, and speaker number 65 is Sophie Yamuchi Latimer.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you great. Please go ahead.
Wonderful. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Sophie Yamauchi Latimer, and I'm calling in on behalf of the Powell Street Festival Society to share our opposition to the proposed motion today. We know the city, like us, value housing stability, community well-being, and the preservation of neighborhood character in the downtown east side. And we know that this shared commitment is why we urge you to take a measured, thoughtful approach to this, one that ensures there is actually meaningful engagement with current residents, local organizations, and our dispersed Japanese-Canadian community, many of whom we have heard from earlier today, and on Tuesday, and who I know will be speaking later. The Powell Street Festival Society is a Japanese-Canadian arts and heritage organization deeply rooted in the historic neighborhood of Parugai, which largely overlaps with the DEOD. For nearly 50 years, our organization has maintained a living connection to this neighborhood, celebrating our culture, preserving heritage, and engaging with the community through arts, trauma-informed programming, and frontline collaborations. Our long-term, authentic involvement gives us a clear perspective on both cultural preservation and housing stability in the DEOD. With that history in mind, we cannot ignore the painful and important parallel between what is being proposed today and what happened to our community in 1942. As we know and have heard from others, this neighborhood was once home to a thriving Japanese-Canadian community, our families, my family, businesses, and cultural institutions, until they were forcibly uprooted under policies that the city actively supported. Their homes, livelihoods, and community fabric were taken, and most didn't return. In 2013, when the city formally apologized and pledged to, quote, do all it can do to ensure such injustices would not happen again to any of its residents, unquote, we entered a new phase. True accountability means ensuring that redevelopment does not replicate the injustices of the past, and the patterns of exclusion, dispossession, and cultural erasure in our community experienced remains painfully relevant today if these zoning changes proceed without care. Today, many DEOD residents, low-income tenants, seniors, and people on disability are expressing fear that these zoning changes could displace them from this very same buildings where our families and our Japanese-Canadian community were once removed. The parallel is undeniable. When people are afraid of being pushed out of the same land where another community was displaced, the city's apology must guide us again. Historically, DEOD zoning has safeguarded affordable housing for seniors, people on disability, low-income residents, and protected the Japanese-Canadian heritage buildings that continue to serve as SRO housing and cultural anchors. These protections maintain stability, prevent speculative redevelopment, and create opportunities for sustainable economic growth. By contrast, hasty redevelopment could exacerbate unresolved concerns, weak protections for heritage spaces, unclear definitions of social housing, and persistent risks of displacement. Many of these issues remain unaddressed. A measured, inclusive approach can achieve the goals and proponents of redevelopment seek: neighborhood improvement, economic opportunity, and financial viability, while avoiding costly mistakes. We respectfully request that the city extend the timeline for this process and instruct staff to reevaluate these zoning changes. This extension would allow meaningful engagement with current residents, local organizations, and the dispersed Japanese-Canadian community. From our organization's experience with the 2014 DTES Local Area Plan, we understand the value of thoughtful, transparent, and community-led planning. When the city takes time to listen, the outcomes are stronger socially, culturally, economically. Thank you so much for your time and consideration in listening to the over 100 individuals who have signed up to share their perspectives on this motion. I hope that you see that this level of engagement shows that there is a real community of invested, knowledgeable individuals ready to contribute. This is a moment for us to reimagine the DEOD together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 66, Jenny Simpson.
Speaker 66 is not on the line.
Thank you. 67, Kathy Shimizu.
67 is not on the line.
Speaker number 68, Angelo Morani.
Good day, Honorable Council, Mayor Sim. My name is Angelo Moroni, originally from Chile. brought here because of dictatorship displacement in 73, just like many Chileans. Canada granted asylum here. We are very grateful. I'm a counselor and support worker in the downtown east side. I've worked with Watari Counseling Support Services for 5 years. And I've also supported Downtown Eastside Neighborhood House, Overdose Prevention Society, Dudes Club, and also Downtown Community Court, doing my best to support people in the Downtown East Side and abroad, including immigrants, people in a process for immigration. My nephew in 2022 passed away from a drug overdose. He was half Chilean, half Cree. It was very sad. He was 24 years old. He lived in indigenous housing, SRO. Anyways, I was already an addictions counselor by that time, but we know how it is in the Downtown East Side and abroad in other cities in the Lower Mainland, in the Greater Vancouver area. Okay, so back here. Planning for disaster. Rezoning for disaster. Those are the words that I wish that you take from my little moment. I do not need to convince you of this. All you need to do is to follow the law of physics, the law of cause and effect. We all want change in the Downtown East Side for the better. No one chooses to be homelessness or in addiction, or to have mental illness issues due to homelessness, addiction, and unresolved and ongoing trauma. We all wish that the addiction and homelessness problem in the Downtown East Side be resolved. That would be wonderful. Yes, we all wish, we all envision a beautiful and thriving and cultural Downtown East Side. But unfortunately, for change to happen the right way in the Downtown East Side, that is a long-term solution or plan. Recovery, as we all know, is a long-term plan. 20 years, 30 years in terms of the plan, and actually in the long term, in the big picture, it's not that long at all. It feels like this rezoning is trying to bulldoze its way through positive change in the Downtown East Side. Can't you see? The rezoning proposal falls into another form of colonization. Is that what we want to be a part of? To force the way of change rather than listening to the people, to the community that live there. Also, and pardon me, I may not know all the facts, but I say this, isn't it interesting that the only recommendation the City of Vancouver staff, if that is who they were, that came back to in terms of the options is just the rezoning. What happened to the other options, if there were any? And pardon me, I wonder if some certain people received recommendations to only focus on rezoning as the only option. Honorable Council members, when you accepted your position as public servant, and you know this more than me, you are in your position. It's a public service. You're in the public. You agreed to be under the eye of the general public. And regarding city matters, no matter what you do, your truth is exposed. You have...
And Angelo, I'm sorry, you're at time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for
I
coming.
wish you make the best decision. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas. Speaker number 69, Nicholas John Ellen. Nicholas, are you on the line?
Yes, hello.
Please
Good
go ahead.
afternoon. Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Nicholas Allen. I'm a resident of the City of Vancouver, and I'm seeking to oppose this motion. I'm also a resident of the Downtown East Side from 2016 to 2021. I'm still a resident of East Vancouver. I just wanted to talk about what this motion, we know about this motion. I know there's a lot of debate over whether it will cause gentrification, or uplift the Downtown East Side. I know staff were asked directly if they thought that this would cause gentrification, and they did respond that they did an economic test, and they thought that even with the proposed inclusionary zoning, there still wouldn't be, a financial basis for, unfettered private development. They thought they would still require public support, so there would not be immediate gentrification. What we do know about rezoning is that it does change land values. If we're going to go from 40% market rental to 80%, and from 10 to 12 stories to 32 stories, that's a lot more density on the same land, and the value of that land will go up. So whether or not there's an immediate development of this land, market's not great right now. It's not a lot of development anywhere. There will be speculation. We know there's going to be speculation because there's already buyers in the neighborhood inviting investors to speculate. And so there will be speculation. There will be changes in ownership, and there will be displacement as a result of those changes in ownership. The affordable housing that we have now will be at immediate risk. I lived in a private SRO that was gentrified. It was $750 a month, and then everyone got evicted illegally or bought out. And then it was, repainted, refloored, same building. And, it was started at $1,500 a month, for a different type of person, Even if the building is not redeveloped, the change in land values and the change in the desired tenants, the market, results in the displacement of existing residents. The other thing that we know about increasing land values is that will make it more expensive to deliver social housing. If the price of this property doubles or triples overnight, that means governments or nonprofit operators that want to build will have to pay more money to build the same amount of social housing. So the one thing that's working in this neighborhood now, that we're developing more social housing than we targeted, will stop. So not only are we going to be putting the existing housing at risk, but we're going to stop building the housing that we need. All for, the hypothetical 10,000 whatever units that maybe down the line we might get, in theory. I think this proposal as it stands should be completely rejected because it accomplishes nothing that we want, that any of us want, and it will cause great harm to the existing residents. So I strongly urge you to oppose this motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 70, Nan Gregory.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Nan Gregory. I'm a West Point Grey homeowner. I've listened to everyone speaking before me, and it's been breathtaking, really, listening to such a wide range of ages, of experience, of knowledge, with such understanding and wisdom and energy. I have nothing to add to what they said except to say yes. To all they said against the rezoning, I say yes. I say yes to what they said about the wonders of the community and what will be lost if this motion passes. I say yes to the values they spoke for. I say yes to the alternatives they offered. I say yes to compassion and respect. I'm standing here to be counted saying no to this motion. I'm just one, but I'm not the only one. There are many like me who live in other parts of the city who honor the downtown east side. We're proud of it. It's unique in all the world, you know. Other cities have slums and people living in cardboard boxes and hunting through garbage for trinkets to sell, but none have this spirit, this history, this range of arts and community engagement, this love. This area is the true heart of the city. Not a Valentine, but real heart, historic heart, where people have gathered together again and again in common cause for the common good to look after each other as best they can and changing the world in the process. And that is true community. The DEO zoning is one of a kind. It's a banner for the rest of Canada to marvel at, and if they have the juice, to follow. Pass this motion and change this zoning, and you drive a knife into the heart of this, your city, our city. The people who will benefit if this motion passes and land values increase don't need the money they make. It's just a game they play, one-upping each other, flashing their excess around. They don't need to be allowed to play their games on the backs of the people here. They oughtn't to beggar the city to play their games. Bad things do happen down there in the downtown east side. There's no denying that. But nothing unsavory that goes on there, driven, I want to say, most often by necessity and deprivation. There's nothing unsavory that goes on down there that does not occur behind closed doors in comfortable neighborhoods and in homes of the very wealthy everywhere. Do you remember Kevin Conrad, number 18 on Wednesday night? He said something very insightful. He said, 3 things you need to get along in life: good genes, good family, good luck. Not everybody gets that. I'd say you could get along with 2 out of the 3 if one of them is luck. When I think back to when I was young and confused and remember the things I did and the people I met and the places I went, I swear what protected me were Kevin's things inbuilt. But as Kevin said, not everybody gets that. Let's not jump to judgment. I'd like you to consider that there's a hair's breadth between any one of us or our children or grandchildren or parents and the streets. If you can't summon up pure compassion for the ill luck others suffer, then for selfish reasons you might seriously consider supporting this community in case you find yourself or someone you love in like circumstances one day. Please, please, please don't destroy this thing of such great value. Once gone, it can never be restored. Give yourself some time to let in what you've heard in these hearings. Give it some true consideration. I'm standing here to be counted saying no to this motion. I hope you'll join me. Thank you for your time and for your good ears. And for the coming season, I wish you all peace and goodwill, without and within.
Thank you, Nan, and we wish you that as well. Thank you. Speaker number 71, Ian Koo. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Ian Koo. I'm a resident of the city of Vancouver, and I oppose this motion. Firstly, to provide a bit of background about myself, I am a worker in Chinatown, and I've lived for over a year in a rented condo unit located around the intersection of Main and Cordova streets. Squarely in the downtown east side, I made the decision to live there because of the proximity to my workplace, educational institution, and transit to the rest of the city. While my time living in the downtown east side was very brief, I no longer live there. It helped me realize that plans that seek to radically transform the downtown east side into a place for expensive, upmarket housing will be ineffectual for solving the city's problems with the housing crisis. It will most likely, in fact, exacerbate the issue even further. If this plan is not canceled, we will have to deal with a reality where issues faced by those living and working in the downtown east side will be completely overwhelmed with circumstances that will stand to make an already hard life much, much harder. The current proposal allows hastened densification without any consideration of the displacement that will happen if it is allowed to pass. While there are supposedly provisions to ensure social housing in the developments built under this proposed zoning policy, the reality is that the number of actual shelter rate units that will come out of these buildings will not even be able to house 5% of the people that will be pushed out of the SRO living spaces these buildings will replace. What you will end up seeing is hundreds of people with nowhere to go. The units that will stay units that will stay empty because they will be too expensive for any reasonable person to live in. On the off chance that someone watching this is an investor, know that you will not be able to make any form of easy profit from any development built under this zoning policy. What they are not telling you is that allowing this rezoning plan to pass is essentially the senior government dropping the ball on actually dealing with the housing crisis and leaving it in the hands of private developers who will then be passing on the additional cost of it onto you. The myth that raising the value of land in the downtown east side will only affect those currently living there is just that, only a myth. Just because the people currently living there will be the first to feel its effects does not mean that they will be the only ones. Council, if you allow this plan to pass, all of us will have to face the gross mismanagement of displacing people living in the downtown east side Oppenheimer district. The only reason I had to give up living in the downtown east side is that I too was priced out. This is the reality that many other people in the neighborhood will have to face if you, council, decide to allow private developers to be the ones leading the way in solving our city's housing crisis. Once these buildings go up, you will have to reckon with the many new people who will have no new experience living in this neighborhood. What will you do when these people start to harass you to get more police officers to patrol their streets because they don't feel safe? What will you do when you realize that most of your constituents are aware of how bloated the city police budget already is? The little amount of profit that could come from condos in the downtown east side Oppenheimer district is not worth the real sustainable change that is possible with a stronger focus on real social housing in the downtown east side. To the mayor and the council of the city of Vancouver, all of your constituents are watching this vote, and we are urging you to put the future of living in this city first. My name is Ian Koo, and I oppose the motion to rezone the downtown east side. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Ian. Speaker number 72, Sina Cleve.
Speaker 72 is not on the line.
Speaker number 73, Marcia Lopez.
Hello.
Hi,
Can you
please.
listen to me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Thank you to the host nation for having me as an invited guest. My name is Marcia Lopez. I am a Chilean migrant, resident of the city of Vancouver, a volunteer with the Carnegie Housing Project with First United Social Justice Committee. I am a member of the IBUW Local 213 and a SFU student. I came here to oppose this proposed plan. I want to start reading the following. We'll double the number of co-op housing within the next 4 years. This statement is in the ABC's platform. Councillor Orr presented a motion to help you achieve this promise, and ABC's majority opposed. You promised 100 cops, 100 nurses. Only 79 cops were hired until now, and 40 nurses. We need them to kick the dealers from the other cities out, not to harm our neighbors. Women Transforming Cities and parents advocates taught us that misery can be fought. And thanks to their amazing job, the budget now includes the baby change tables replacement. The council works for the city, and it is totally reasonable to represent the community's wishes in front of provincial and federal governments. Please use your power to help people who don't have, not to help people who want to have more and more and more. We also need you to start auditing how the SROs are delivering the service. Garbage, mice, cockroaches, molds is not a good service. Flooding the city with market housing is not a guarantee that will help to fulfill the affordability needs. Please do what this other statement from ABC's platform says. We'll reopen and then update the downtown East Side's area plan with community members, BC Housing, First Nation, and service providers. Work with the people who know what is right. Don't use your majority to harm your neighbors. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Speaker number 74, Melody Wise.
Speaker 74 is not on the line.
Speaker 75, Carvin Lee.
No, not on the line.
76, Harrison Pratt.
Not on the line.
77, Sylvia Krisan.
Excuse me.
This is my first time doing this. Hi. Hi, I'm Sylvia. Yeah, we met before, remember?
I remember. Hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, hi. I currently live in Vancouver. I'm in the Burnaby district, and I'm so against this situation because you're going to change everything in the downtown east side. It's going to look, I don't know, probably crappier. Like we get high-rises and stuff in downtown and in downtown. I mean, that has changed so much. I mean, why would you want to change the downtown east side? I mean, like I've lived there in shelters for 4 years and it's changed. I mean, like it's changed. If it wasn't for the shelters, I wouldn't know what I would do. But still, from the shelters to being housed, that was a big, huge change for me. But anyhow, don't change it. Whatever you do, just keep it the way it is. You have to get those people off of drugs and get them housed. Focus on that instead of changing it. Because if you change downtown east side, it'll go nuts. I mean, like I tell you, it will go nuts. I mean, like I've seen these people on the street, drugged, overdosed, laying on the ground. I don't know if they're dead or if they're alive. I don't know. I want to call the police or call somebody. I just don't know. Please, Mayor and Council, don't change the downtown east side. Keep it the way it is. Help the people out. Because if you help people out, then you will get a change. And that's about it. I'm with the community and home. What is it again? Cheetos, community housing product. Thanks. Anyhow, yeah. So I help out too, but I'm really passionate when it comes to homelessness because I've been there. So we over and out. 3 minutes.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thanks for coming in. It's great seeing you again. We'll get another one. How's that? Okay, awesome. The next speaker is Margaret Lord. Margaret there?
Speaker 78 is not on the line.
Speaker number 79, Tanya Webking.
Yeah, hi, my name is Tanya Webking, and I'm here to speak against this motion. I am a longtime frontline healthcare worker in the downtown east side, and I've spent the last 3 decades working and advocating for the folks down there, and it is always my pleasure to do this work to honor the original caretakers of these lands, the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. This proposed plan seeks to erase a special zoning area that's functioning the way that it was intended. Downtown Eastside organizers rallied for years to fight for these zoning protections, which have been in place since 2014. Since that time, there's been twice the amount of social housing projects built in the DOD than the entirety of the Downtown Eastside. This was innovative planning, and these zoning protections should be expanded across the city and not removed. Land values have been suppressed in the DOD because of these zoning protections, but if we lose them, this will have lead to an exponential land speculation and mass tenant displacement. This plan claims to have the ability to find housing for hundreds of SRO tenants, but if this housing already existed, we wouldn't be experiencing the greatest homelessness crisis in Vancouver's history. This plan not only ignores the 2,000 souls that are already living unsheltered in the Downtown East Side, but shelter rate housing would shrink in these new buildings from 20% down to 4%. This plan will literally increase homelessness with the possibility of creating an encampment 18 times the size of the Strathcona encampment. This plan dehumanizes the residents of the DEOD. And again, as many have said, the research professor UBC, Kuni Kamazaki, has done a lot of research examining how these zoning protections have been incredibly successful in keeping land values low and preventing gentrification. These zoning protections have been an incredible policy tool that should be expanded. During the staff report earlier this week, they revealed that developers aren't interested in running social housing units. They're simply profiteering, and they have zero interest in public good. This council should be aggressively lobbying senior levels of government and not offering financial support and cuts for development costs. They'll add nothing to this neighborhood. This plan creates to ensure that developers will make a profit, once again demonstrating how the private market will never meet the public's needs. Let's look at one example, the Empress Hotel, which is 100% social housing SRO. And if we change to an 80-20% proposal, this means that the city will have to create 12 32-story buildings to replace all of these units. And that is just one building. This isn't realistic, and it's not community-driven. This plan has been designed to uplift the private market, period. The DEOD represents only 1/3 of 1% of the total land in Vancouver, so why is the city so anxious to build condos in this neighborhood? It's a cheap land transfer to the billionaire class when we have almost 3,000 empty condos already in the city. Just earlier this week, councillors voted down zoning for 20-story social housing projects across the city, stating that it ignores neighborhood planning. They also declared that social housing across Vancouver is not precise planning and referred to it as sledgehammer planning. Yet this sounds exactly like the proposed uplifting proposal of the DEOD was not listening to the community. And during the brief Downtown Eastside engagement, 82% of Downtown Eastside residents said that they didn't support this upzoning. DRIPA is the codified law set by the province as the legal implementation of UNDRIP. This legal framework exists to ensure that all laws and government actions respect the human rights and the right to self-determination for all Indigenous people living in BC. DRIPA applies to all Indigenous people living in BC, including those living in urban settings. And as 80% of Indigenous people live in urban settings, this means that DRIPA has particular importance for these urban Indigenous communities as they do not have a clear advocacy body. As over 30% of the Downtown Eastside residents are Indigenous, this means that the city should be engaging directly with the communities in the deep Downtown Eastside. I cannot help but think of the CBC expose from earlier this year that released an ABC memo from last year that stated that they wanted to return Indigenous people
Sorry,
back to their home
Tanya,
communities.
you're at time, actually. You're about 20 seconds over. So,
Okay.
great.
Just a reminder,
Sorry,
we were
Tanya,
never homeless
Tanya,
before
we have-
1492.
Great. Thank you. Okay, Councillor Kirby Young, I noticed you're on the queue.
I am on the queue for a point of procedure, Mayor, and I just looking at scheduling kind of the upcoming reserve dates, the high level of public interest in the item, and the fact that a broad spectrum of councillors are not available this evening, so we don't have quorum guaranteed tonight. And so I thought ahead of getting to the 5 o'clock, we should get some clarity on that. And so was proposing an option for council's consideration in order to provide some precision to the speakers and provide a sufficient blocks of time to be able to hear from the public. And that proposal is that due to the number of speakers on this item, council recess the meeting and at 5 p.m. I sent an updated version, and reconvene at 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday, December 16th, to be held in the council chamber and electronically. And I'm just looking for trying to navigate through so that we can have an effective use of time and the public can have some predictability and know that they have a chance to be heard.
Great. Thank you very much. That was seconded by Councillor Klassen. Council, is there any discussion? Seeing none.
Sorry, I don't know why, but I'm
Okay,
trying
Councillor
to
Maloney, please go ahead.
myself on the queue, but my ex-panel's not responding. Would you mind just repeating the date that you, through the chair,
Put that up.
Tuesday morning,
Yep,
December
through
the
the chair.
16th?
I emailed it. I'll do it verbally, and then the clerk can bring it up as well. We're talking, it was to recess at 5 p.m. tonight because of the quorum issue that was mentioned, and reconvene at 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday, December 16th.
Through the chair, I've just got a medical appointment that I'd really like to go to between 1 and 2, and I'd just like to request that day if we could possibly schedule lunch when I'm already out of here. That would be very helpful.
Yeah, sure.
Is that
for
something
the
that,
motion?
I mean, through the chair, is that, and to the councillor, is that something we can deal with offline with respect to
Certainly.
the lunch break timing, or did you want to determine that today, Councillor Maloney?
It's just an informal request.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is there any? Yeah.
I'm unable to access my Creston, Mayor. But,
Okay, yeah, I'm going to put you in the queue there, Councillor. Can we add Councillor Fry to the queue, please? Great. Councillor Fry, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate the willingness for folks to adjust this, but I mean, I had adjusted plans, including a leave I had today, to attend longer for this meeting rather than breaking at 5. And we didn't have a placeholder in for Tuesday, and I have various appointments, including a medical appointment that I can't break on Tuesday morning. I've already bumped it a few times. So do we have to, are we without quorum after 5 o'clock today? I thought we had resolved this yesterday.
Hey, I do believe there's quite a large gap with quorum, isn't there?
I mean, I also just to add, Mayor, that I do think, folks in the community and the public have kind of anticipated speaking tonight, and this is a bit of a last-minute curveball for anybody who is anticipated speaking tonight and will not be. But
So, Clerk, we do have some pretty significant gaps in quorum. I think there's something like a 3-hour gap in there, and then so we would be going for, basically holding all the team members, the city team members, in addition to the councillors, for 3 hours, and then it will become it'll be pretty late, so we would probably sign off anyways. And I do think it's important that we do, this is such an important topic that I know there are a lot of councillors that aren't here today who'd like to be here hearing the voices of the residents as well. And so, Councillor Fry, I can appreciate where you are. Totally get it. And I would, like personally, I would support giving the speakers clarity and making sure that's full representation of the council in this chamber as much as possible. So,
Sorry, maybe just in follow up. Do we have? I did note there's quite a few people in the foyer now who I'm assuming are here to speak. Do we have a sense of how many people are anticipating if speaking tonight who are already here and have made the trouble to come to City Hall?
we can check on that, Councillor. Great. Okay, Councillor Fry, in the meantime, can I advance Councillor Maloney as the next councillor? She's in the queue and we can come back in 2 minutes when we have that number.
Yeah, I'm going to come into chambers. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Councillor Maloney?
I just wanted to advise that this evening I am definitely available till at least 7 o'clock if that helps with the issue of quorum. Thank you.
Councillor Claassen?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I know that there's been a significant amount of discussion around this last night in the chamber, and so I am supporting this, knowing that we're going to have this gap. We're going to have the inability to clerk this meeting. I know that we've been able to move the meeting reserve to early on Tuesday, and this opportunity, the fact that we have recordings allows people to catch up on conversations missed, but certainly there are people who want to be here and are not able to be here. So I am in full support of, especially with all the effort that's been made so far and all the discussion and consultation on this one, that we try and get going. We have those reserve blocks on next week, and we're going to have to power through and make sure that we use that time. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Councillor Joe?
Yeah, thanks, man. Just a point of information. We have a reserve day tomorrow, Friday. Yeah, tomorrow afternoon, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Why do we don't take advantage of that 2 hours there?
Thank you, Councillor Joe. Okay, so Councillor Fry, we do have 10 people in person and 5 online. Okay, seeing, are you looking to get out, Councillor Joe?
Yeah, just wondering, answer to my question. Why don't we take advantage of the 2 hours tomorrow, the reserve day?
Three to 5, yeah. Yeah, so the motion on the floor right now is Councillor Kirby Young's. We can.
Do you want me to speak to that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, through you, Chair. I think that it's highly unusual when we have these 2 hour breaks, and I think that the proposal, given the substantive number of speakers we have, and again to provide some predictability for them on larger time blocks, was to try to do it with a defined time when council has a large time allocation, as opposed to these 1 and 2 hour stops and starts, because it can be, as Councillor Fry has pointed out, people are trying to plan, they're coming to City Hall. We only get through a certain number of speakers at a small time, so it was just trying to be provide the best predictability and to provide a block of time so that people knew that council would be here for a duration, and we could try to provide as much time as possible and get through speakers.
Thank you. Councillor Fry?
Yeah, thanks. And noting that we're just coming up on 5-2, so we're going to have to make some kind of decision. I had booked my own schedule around our reserve dates, and of course 9 o'clock on Tuesday was not on our reserve date, so it does kind of create a headache for me, and I will not be able to attend at 9. I think we were scheduled for 3 o'clock on the Tuesday was our actual start, which is how I've worked my own personal schedule. But that being said, if the will of the majority of council is to do that, and cease today, I do think at the very least we should accommodate the folks who have taken the trouble to come to City Hall or who are waiting online to speak, rather than stopping at 5 o'clock, I believe was the original suggestion. I think that's unfair to the folks who are waiting and have made the effort to come here.
Okay. So is that a comment or maybe a question to Councillor Kirby-Young, or is that?
I suppose it's a general comment. I mean, I'm not sensing what the will of council is. It seems like I would hope perhaps this could be amended at the very least, if the will of council is to reconvene on the Tuesday, that we will at least hear the folks who are here now.
Chair, may I?
Yep.
To the chair through you, I think that's a question for best direct to the clerk to determine based on the leave of absence if there will be quorum from 5 to 6. I think that's probably a practical consideration. Then council, if they wish to try to hear the other speakers based on that, could amend this. Or could do after this motion is dealt with, could amend it to make a separate motion to hear those speakers. But I think the practical question is how many. I mean, I think this proposal was based on the leaves that were listed. I see, for example, Councillor Bly all day, Councillor Fry, like I think it was based on yours, which was from 6 o'clock, Councillor Klassen and Meiser from 5 o'clock. Like there was a number, Councillor Maloney. So I think there's a number of them. So maybe the question is actually for the clerk chair as to if there's quorum to do that.
According to the approved leave of absence list, yes, we will have quorum until 6 p.m.
Okay. So is the motion on the floor then to, is it modified to hear the 10 people that are currently in the downstairs waiting and the 5 current people online? Or is it to end at 5 o'clock and reconvene on Tuesday?
Putting myself on the queue, there's procedurally, I believe there's a proposed amendment on the floor, and it's up to the will of council if they'd like to amend that or not, and if not, vote on it. But any councillor can amend as they choose. So that's where I believe procedurally that's where we are.
Okay. Sir Clerk, so point of procedure, do we vote on this right now, or then do we go to count like people in the queue still? I just call the vote.
This is still in debate, so we can go on to the queue unless someone has an amendment they want to put on the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Fry?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't see the amendment that, or the, oh, here we go. I see Councillor Kirby-Young. Do I need to put this to amend Councillor Kirby-Young's amendment to recess this meeting at 6 o'clock in order to hear the speakers who are here or online?
Sorry, I missed part of that. So was it to extend to 6 o'clock? Is that what you said, Councillor Fry?
Yes, please. I'm just putting it in writing.
So let's do this right. I'm going to put you in the amendment queue, please. Go ahead. So okay, and why don't we go to seeing no one else in the queue there, Councillor Fry? Why don't we just put it to a vote? I'm going to put it in a voting panel. Oh.
Did I send it to?
Chair, it's Councillor Meisner here. I don't have my Crestron, but I would need a vote assist in favor on Councillor Fry's amendment.
We're still waiting for the amendment. Oh. Sorry, Councillor Kirby-Young.
Can I ask a point of clarification through you? This just deals with tonight, but I don't see if this is a strike and replace, or is this is this meant to amend the amendment that also includes the reconvening on December 16th? I don't see that part. Can we get clarification through you, Chair?
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, it is a strike and replace because I don't really support the idea of skipping our scheduled Friday and our scheduled meeting start for Tuesday. But in the interest of the here and now, I think it just moves us along to at least hear these, and we still have another hour. We can revisit the scheduling and maybe workshop that amongst us.
Just a point of procedure, because I'm unclear now. So if we actually do that, I know the substance of what this conversation is, but procedurally, does Councillor Kirby-Young's amendment get, like, because this is a strike and replace, does that mean that Councillor Kirby-Young's motion fails and we can't bring it up again?
Can I speak to it? I'm on the queue. Can I speak to it? Well,
Councillor,
okay? Yeah, I would just say that we've got a couple minutes to deal with this, or we're finishing at 5 p.m. anyway, procedurally, just so everybody knows. I don't think that we should spend, if we're talking about reconvening for 1 hour, I don't think we should deal with it later and spend another 15 minutes. I think we should deal with it now. I stand by the rationale to convene on Tuesday as opposed to a 2-hour block on a Friday afternoon. I don't think that that is as flexible for people. So, I can see the 6 p.m., but I'd rather see some language quickly, if not.
I would just on the Friday, I would concur because it's so hard logistically. We cannot, we have no idea if we're going to have 24 speakers that take their 5-minute allotment, or if we have 24 speakers that speak for 3. So we're asking a whole bunch of people to come in on the hopes that they may or may not, and I think that would be incredibly disruptive. That would be super problematic for the people. Okay. Okay, so in the interest of time, because I'm going to call the vote on Councillor Fry's amendment. Do we have to do the voting panel? Let's do the voting panel. This is on Councillor Fry's amendment. Okay, and that 1, 2, 3.
Mayor, it's
Yep.
Councillor Montague. Can I get a vote assist in opposition, please?
Okay, thank you very much.
And in favor, just a reminder for Councillor Meisner, please.
Okay, and then all right, what do we do in the event of a tie?
A tie fails.
He was in opposition. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that fails. So I'm going to call the vote on Councillor Kirby-Young's motion. Get that back on the screen, please.
Mayor, it's Councillor Montague. A vote assist in favor, please. And given the failure of the last motion, a vote assist in favor for Councillor Meisner, please.
Very much. Councillor Orr Maloney. Okay, and that passes with Councillors Fry, Orr, and Maloney in opposition.
You know that. Okay.
We have 2 hours tomorrow, and then we have 3 on Tuesday.
Okay.
Oh, no, we do.
So,
We
okay,
don't.
this meeting is recessed until. Can we? Yeah, Tuesday. Sorry, this meeting is recessed until Tuesday, December 16th, 2025 at 9th. 9:30 a.m. here in Council Chamber and electronically to continue with number 1 Downtown Eastside Housing Implementation Amendments to the FC-1 District in the Zoning and Development Bylaw and the Downtown Eastside Oppenheimer District Official Development Plan, DEOD ODP Bylaw to accelerate SRO replacement and increase social housing. I will remind council that it is incredibly important that you do not engage in any discussion or correspondence in regard to the remaining application. Thank you.
Thanks. Good night.